Hi guys, welcome back to the RC maintenance series, and if you've missed any episodes I will put a link to the whole playlist at the end of the video. So today we're going to be looking at shock oil weights and the differences between the weights and how that will relate to your particular car and your style of driving, and we'll have a nice easy table at the end for you to refer to give you some idea of maybe what you should be using in your car. Shock oils come in a range of weights from 100 weight down to 10 or even 5 weight, and each different weight has a different application. Generally, the higher the number, the thicker the oil, and therefore the higher the resistance and dampening. Thicker oils tend to be used for track racing when the conditions are smooth and quite hard packed soil. That will be very good if you're using hard oils. That'll give you the most responsiveness to your suspension. And for off-road cars, higher oil weights are used if you're hitting a lot of really big jumps and you don't want to smash your belly pan to pieces. You want to make sure that the suspension takes the dampening rather than the actual chassis of the car. And also, as a general rule, the higher the oil weight, the more stability you'll get on your suspension system, and therefore more traction and better steering, etc., etc. So lighter oils would be used for rougher surfaces, lumps and bumps and small jumps if you're not taking big leaps into the unknown, as it were. Then you can get away with a lighter oil weight because that'll give you more reactive suspension, and that's probably what you want when you're going over rough terrains. You want the suspension to return where it was as quickly as possible, so that you're keeping your wheels on the road as much as possible. So depending on your style of driving, you can tune your suspension using your oils to your particular car and the track or area that you're jumping and bashing with. Turning the page. So as a general guideline, I'll put up a graphic here. Hopefully you'll be able to see that without my big head in the way. 1/10 scale bashers. If you're hitting a lot of big jumps and you're a hard basher, what you might be calling a hard basher, then you're looking at 50 to 70 weight oils in your suspension. If you're a light basher and you're only running on sort of loose gravel tarmac, maybe taking it into the woods and over some small lumps and bumps and a few sort of low level jumps, then 30 to 50 weight oil is probably what you're looking at. For 12 scale bashers, the hard bashers will be using 30 to 45 weight, and light bashers 25 to 35 weight oil. Now if you're a crawler, that's a totally different setup for your car. You need a much lighter oil because your suspension must be more reactive. You want that suspension to move as quickly as possible and move back as quickly as possible to keep your wheels on whatever it is you're crawling over, whether it's rocks or sand or trees or whatever. So 1/10 scale crawlers will use probably 10 to 30 weight oil for the suspension. Make sure it's nice and reactive. And 12 scale crawlers, there's a hell of a lot of those about, but you're looking at 5 to 20 weight. Now, certain people might use a higher or a lower weight depending on their experience and their personal preference. That's fine. You can never really put the wrong weight in unless you go really to one extreme from the other. But yeah, personal preference does take some consideration in this situation. The track racer guys, I'm pretty sure that if you're up to the level of racing on a track, you don't need to be watching this video, but they will often track racers will use much harder oils because they need very stiff suspension for a lot of the time that they're on track. They need instant response from their vehicle, so they tend to use higher weights, but they again will also tune the car to the track using their oils. They might do 5 or 6 runs with 30 weight in the back, and then they'll stick some 40, 50 weight in to see whether the response is more to their liking. Now, this is only a guide, and you may have to do a bit of testing with a couple of different oils. Get one either side of the sort of one you're looking at. Maybe if you're looking at 50 weight, get a 40 and a 60 if you want to try some testing and see the actual difference between them. But shock oil's about £5 a bottle. You can buy it individually. You don't have to buy. You can buy a pack of 10 that's got weights 10 to 100 in if that's what you want to do and do some really serious testing. But it's £5 a bottle or $7 a bottle. Amazon, Banggood, Gearbest, they all sell it. Model Sport UK, if you're in the UK, I'm sure there's hundreds of websites all over the place that sell shock oil. And as long as you go for something like Team Losi or Team Associated, they're pretty good quality oils. The racers themselves use those, so they don't use shabby equipment. So at £5 a bottle, you can afford to do a bit of testing because the bottle lasts quite a while. It's not like it'll only fill your shocks once. That you can get sort of 10 or 15 fills out of a bottle that's a set of shocks, not just the one shock. So it's not going to cost you an arm and a leg. So there we go, a quick tour through the world of shock oils. Thanks very much for joining us on the RC Maintenance series. I'll see you on the next one.